There is a kind of pain that doesn't announce itself cleanly. It arrives in ordinary moments. In a song that played in the background of something you shared. In waking up and reaching, for half a second before you remember, for someone who is no longer there. In the particular silence of a space that used to hold another person's sounds. This kind of pain is not dramatic, and that's exactly what makes it so hard to carry. Because the world keeps moving, and you are standing in it, holding something invisible and very, very heavy. What is actually happening inside you when love is lost? Whether through a relationship ending, through death, through the slow fading of someone who was once central to your life. The brain is not simply processing an emotional event. It is going through something closer to withdrawal. Here's why. When someone becomes deeply part of your life, when oxytocin and dopamine and serotonin have been building and firing and bonding around their presence for months or years, your brain reorganizes itself around them. Neural pathways form, circuits that fire when you think of them, when you hear their name, when you move through spaces you shared. Your nervous system learns to expect them. The morning coffee, the particular way they answered the phone, their name appearing on your screen, their physical presence beside you in the ordinary moments of a day. These are not small things your brain registered casually. These were woven into the structure of how your brain anticipated the world. And when they are gone, those circuits don't simply switch off. They keep firing. They reach for something that is no longer there. And the pain you feel, that specific, hollow, unreachable ache, is your brain searching the environment for something it learned to depend on. Think about that for a moment. Grief is not weakness, it is not excessive, it is not something to be gotten through faster. Grief is the evidence of how real the love was. The size of the loss is the exact size of what was built. And the brain, your brain, needs time to rewire, to slowly, gradually, update its expectations, to rebuild its understanding of the world without that presence in it. This takes longer than people are told it should. And it takes longer than you will feel comfortable with. But it is not infinite. And it is not without meaning. There is a study, and this matters, where people experiencing the grief of lost love were shown a photograph of the person they had lost. The area of the brain that activated was the same area that activates in drug withdrawal. Not metaphorically, neurologically identical. The body was not overreacting. The body was responding accurately to a genuine loss of something it had been biochemically depending on. This is why you cannot simply decide to feel better. Why telling yourself to move on, or being told by others, rarely helps. The brain does not update its wiring through intention alone. It updates through time, through new experience, through the slow accumulation of moments that teach it a new normal. And here is where it becomes personal. Because everyone's grief wears a different face. Some people go quiet, they withdraw, move inward, lose appetite for the things that used to bring pleasure. That is the dopamine system losing its primary trigger. The world goes flat, not because they are broken, but because the source of their dopamine has been removed. Some people become restless, agitated, they can't sit still, can't stop replaying, can't stop their mind from circling the same moments. That is noradrenaline, the system of vigilance and focus, struggling to make sense of an outcome it didn't anticipate. Some people feel a physical ache, in the chest, in the throat, in the stomach. Because the body holds grief too. The vagus nerve, the great connector between brain and body, registers loss as physical experience. This is why grief is not just in the mind. It lives in the body. And it must move through the body to fully heal. Movement helps, not to distract, but because the body needs to process what the mind cannot fully hold. Tears help, they release cortisol, the stress hormone, and signal the nervous system that it is safe to feel. Connection helps even when it is the last thing you want, even when you cannot explain what you're carrying. Even a brief moment of genuine human presence reminds the nervous system that the world still holds warmth. Time outdoors helps, light and movement and the biological anchor of the natural world. And meaning helps more than almost anything. Not forcing yourself to find a silver lining, but allowing yourself to ask, when the acute pain has settled a little, what did this teach me about love, about myself, about what I actually need? There is something that actually happens, on the other side of properly moved through grief. An openness that wasn't there before. A tenderness, a depth of empathy for other people's pain that you couldn't have accessed without your own. A clarity about what matters, about what you will no longer settle for, about the kind of love you are now, finally, willing to wait for. People who have moved through significant loss describe it the same way. They say, I lost something I thought I couldn't survive losing, and I survived, and I am different now, not less but more. More honest, more present, more able to love because they know what it costs, and they choose it anyway. This is what grief does, when you allow it to move through you rather than holding it frozen. It doesn't take what was lost and erase it. It transforms it into wisdom, into depth, into a capacity for love that is no longer naive, but is also no longer afraid. What was built by love remains. Even when the person is gone. Even when the relationship ended. What was real stays real. And you, carrying all of it. All the joy and all the loss and all the chemistry and all the quiet moments that no one else ever saw. You are more whole than you know. This is the calm code. And this, right here, is what it was always about. Not the absence of pain, but the presence of you moving through it with understanding, with compassion, and with the knowledge that love in all its forms is never wasted. Subscribe, share this with someone who needs it, and we'll continue the conversation.